Hey everybody, I am Sarah. Welcome back to Overkill Reviews. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. We're going to talk about the most anticipated heavy metal albums of 2020. Now, should come as no surprise to y'all, 2020 is going to be an embarrassment of heavy metal riches, just like 2019 was. But just remember, a lot of these dates are subject to change. We did film this in January. Some of the things might move around. Don't get your knickers in a twist about it. All right, let's dive in. So far in 2020, we've already been treated to releases by American traditional heavy metalers Haunt, whose third studio album, Mind Freeze, was released via Shadow Kingdom Records on January 10th. That release featured artwork by Brewmaster Visual Decay, who is a graphic designer based in Montreal, so yay, go Team Canada. You can see Haunt live at Hell's Heroes in Houston in April. We were also treated to a new album by Blasphemous Black Thrashers Midnight, whose fourth studio album, Rebirth by Blasphemy, was out on January 24th. If you're into shotgunning beers and sexy nuns with forked tongues, you probably already love it. That same day, Portuguese trad metal warriors Iron Sword released their new album Servants of Steel via Alma Mater Records. If you're into Manila Road and Manowar, that album is probably right up your alley. On January 24th, we were also treated to a new release by classic French speed metalers ADX, who put out the album Bestial via Altum Records. On January 31st, we were treated to the second album by rising underground stars Hallis, who sound like an amalgamation of Wishbone Ash and Uriah Heep. You may be familiar with them thanks to their mighty catchy breakout single Star Rider and their hella enjoyable debut album Excerpts from a Future Past. They released their new album Conundrum on January 31st. Grindcore titans Napalm Death released an EP dubbed Logic Ravaged by Brute Force via Century Media on February 7th. The second track is a cover of Sonic Youth's fantastic White Cross from the band's 1987 album Sister. This EP was just a teaser for their 17th studio album, Throes of Joy in the Jaws of Defeatism. On Valentine's Day, we were treated to another cornucopia of awesome heavy metal releases to help ease the tension of being cripplingly alone. There was a new offering by Norwegian party rockers Kvelertak. They released Splid via Rise Records. Obscure progressive metalers Psychotic Waltz finally released the follow-up to their 1996 album Bleeding. The God-Shaped Void is out now via Inside Out Music. Power metalers Demons and Wizards, who are a supergroup featuring both John Schaefer from Iced Earth and Hansi Kirsch of Blind Guardian, returned with a new album, their first in 15 years and third overall. That album is aptly titled 3 and is out now via Century Media Records. If you haven't already, be sure to watch Papa Martin's review. Upstart traditional metalers Throne of Iron released their debut, Adventure 1, on February 21st via No Remorse Records. If you dig reverb-laden metal and love to play Dungeons & Dragons, don't miss it. The band will be playing the opening party for Greece's Up the Hammers Festival in March. Make sure you're in attendance. On February 28th, California-based progressive post-metalers Intronaut will release their sixth studio album, Fluid Existential Inversions via Metal Blade. Let's hope this record gets a better overall rating than the scathing 0% awarded to their previous album, The Direction of Last Things. On March 6th, the hugely influential English Gothic doomsters My Dying Bride will release The Ghost of Orion via Nuclear Blast. Shortly afterwards, American hardcore band Code Orange is following up their Grammy-nominated third album, Forever. The new album is entitled Underneath, and it arrives on March 13th via Roadrunner. On March 20th, the fantastic Vancouver-based psychedelic metal rockers Spell will release their third album titled Opulent Decay via Bad Omen Records. This one is almost definitely going to hit my personal best albums of 2020 list, so don't miss it. Second up, the killer Slovakian black metal band Malo Karpatan will release their third studio album, Krapinski On, via Invictus Productions. Thirdly and finally, the doomy proto-metal band Lucifer, which features members of The Oath and Entombed, are releasing their third studio album titled Lucifer 3 via Century Media Records. On March 27th, grindcore act Wake, who are Calgary's best metal band, will release their next studio album Devouring Ruin via Translation Lost Records. That same day, American death doomsters Temple of Void will unveil their third studio album, The World That Was, via Shadow Kingdom Records. Having already heard an advance copy, I can tell you it's a slight shift in direction away from the previous album Lords of Death, which scored a very high 4 out of 5 here on Overkill Reviews. Finally, on April 24th, Australian Doomsters The Wizard will release their new album via Cruz del Sur Music. The band solidified their status as carrying the torch of pagan altar with 2013's utterly fantastic Ancient Tome of Arcane Knowledge. Their next album will be titled Subterranean Exile. Now, on to the releases without confirmed dates. Hold on to your butts because there are a ton. As of late last year, Anthrax have been demoing new material. Charlie Benante has said the new collection of songs are more aggressive and angrier than For All Kings. Atheist. Decibel reports that the progressive death metalers are primed to release an album in 2020. Their last record was 2010's Jupiter, so it's high time for a follow-up. Cannibal Corpse. The long-standing American death metal band reported on Facebook that it was time to enter the crypts and begin work on the next record. Carcass have been teasing their follow-up to Surgical Steel for some time now. They released a throwaway song recorded during the new album sessions via Decibel, their Flexi Disc series, late last year. No release date has been announced yet, but their to-be-confirmed new album will arrive via Nuclear Blast at some point in 2020. Cirith Ungol! The mighty American masters of Proto-Doom will reportedly have a new album soon. Right? They released the single Witch's Game in 2018, and now we're all anxiously waiting the follow-up to 1991's Paradise Lost. If their live gigs and the live album and the stunning single are any indication, it's going to be Satan and Angel Witch levels of awesome. Cynic! Paul Masvidal gave an update on new Cynic music last summer, stating the band is always ongoing in the background, but they've been working on ideas and he hopes to deliver a new record at some point in 2020, so that probably means 2021, but we'll wait for them because it's Cynic. Deftones. The band has been working on their follow-up to Gore for most of last year and have written an album worth of material with plans for a 2020 release. Underground American death metal band Dragcar will be releasing an album in 2020, although the date and other information has yet to be confirmed. As someone who has personally heard the final mix, I can tell you, you are all going to be hella fucking impressed, as it's a huge step up from a previous material and sounds incredibly tight. Back in December, one of my personal favorite bands, Eternal Champion, announced that they were starting their own label called Sword Worship, which would release all things Eternal Champion, including the North American release of their upcoming to-be-confirmed album. If you, like me, like big swords and big riffs, get stoked. Freeways. Brampton, Ontario hard rock band Freeways will release their new album via Temple of Mystery Records in 2020. This album will be the follow-up to their fantastic Cold Front 7-inch from 2017. Funebrarium. This New Jersey-based death metal band posted online about finishing up the mix of their new album. Hopefully that album will be released in 2020, and as their previous was 2009's The Sleep of Morbid Dreams. Gojira. The French progressive death metalers were reported to be in the studio back in September. Hopefully that means the follow-up to Magma is coming in 2020. High Spirits. Everyone's favorite high-energy rockers, High Spirits, are working on a new album to be released via High Roller Records in August. Hopefully they have another single on par with Another Night, because holy shit, that is the best party metal song probably in the last 20 years. According to Facebook, avant-garde black/death metalers Imperial Triumphant are working on a new video and a new album. Get stoked. Iron Maiden. Longtime producer Kevin Shirley hinted that he finished production on a new Iron Maiden album last year. The post also included a studio photo of the studio where the band recorded Brave New World and the Book of Souls. Fans are speculating, as we tend to do, but no details have been announced by the band as of filming this video. King Diamond's long-awaited new album, Institute, which will be the first of 2 new King Diamond albums, is slated for a late 2020 release. It's a horror concept album set in a 1920s mental institution. The story will continue on a second full-length release at a later date. Lamb of God shared a video teaser on December 31st featuring footage of the band in the studio and displaying the Lamb of God logo along with the number 2020. No title or release date have been announced yet, but that is not cryptic at all. Megadeth. Megadeth and company appear to have rebounded following Dave Mustaine's cancer diagnosis and treatment, and are reported to have a new album coming sometime this year. The sessions for Megadeth's 16th studio album took place in Tennessee with co-producer Chris Rakestraw. Ne Obliviscaris. Last May, Australian progressive metalers Ne Obliviscaris confirmed they were in the process of writing their new album. Vocalist Zen tweeted last October that pre-production on vocals had started. Season of Mist has confirmed a potential 2020 release. 9 Inch Nails. Trent Reznor recently revealed there's a giant pot of angst ready to be turned into 9 Inch Nails music, with plans to hit the studio in 2020. That probably means we'll get an album maybe in 21 or 22. Paul Bearer. Randall Dunn, who's producing the new album, stated in December that the band had wrapped up recording of their Metal Blade debut LP. No release date or album title has been announced as of yet. Canadian prog metal band Protest the Hero have finally finished their new album. The band has promised new material, and it should be released in the first few months of 2020. Slipknot. Revolver magazine reported earlier this year that Slipknot's unreleased album may finally see the light of day. Titled Look Outside Your Window, it reportedly has much more of a Radiohead vibe, according to Slipknot's Corey Taylor. And finally, saving one of the best for last, Vancouver-based power metalers Unleash the Archers are reportedly working on the follow-up to their 2017 Apex. The album's called Apex if you're confused. These Jensen lady are exploding. They're playing Wacken 2020, and we couldn't be happier for them, and we cannot wait to hear the new album. All right, I wish we could talk about more releases because there's obviously tons more that are also coming out, but that just spoiled the comments. What albums from 2020 are you stoked for? Leave a comment. Bye.